Now, gents, some of you might have been put on blast by your girl in little party settings or whatever, but has she ever done it on the internet? It's kind of a new thing that's been happening right now. Actually, here's an example.
Happening here, I think it's supposed to be partner shaming. Let's find out.
This is what I woke up to. My husband was on night shift with the baby last night. Ready? Dirty towel. Open, open. Dirty rag, swimsuit,
partner shaming. Okay. So, she says that husband was in charge of watching the baby last night.
Yeah. Dude got shamed for taking care of his baby in the middle of the night and not having the house perfectly clean when it was all over.
Question for the ladies. When you agree to being on baby duty for the night, how thrilled would you be on a scale of 1 to 10 if after your night of baby duty, the following morning, your husband was like, why isn't the house clean?
Exactly. Can you imagine what that would be like in the reverse? If a guy had said that about his girl, if a new mom had been shamed online by her man, could you even see how that goes? Yeah, dog, my girl be tripping when I make simple jokes about her new haircut. Like, come on. Yeah, I know, it's messed up. And it's confusing. You don't know what to do, but you did the right thing. You came to class. Balance of power. I got you covered with today's lesson. Don't sink attention at your family's expense. Let's get it in. So, gentlemen and ladies, the video example that we're going to be talking about today comes to us from a YouTuber known as the Dadvocate. She's the blonde woman with the glasses sitting in the room. Now, this is not a hate video, no busting shots at her at all. She, as you can tell from her name, advocates for dads, men, and women. Just basically kind of what we do here, but way more talking about parents and all that good stuff. But I'm not saying that you should go there saying anything negative about her at all. If anything, watch her videos, watch the full length of this. It's going to be in the description. Now, you know you can't forget about the D. And so that way you watch that video, watch some of the other stuff, and you could even tell her that you came here from Balance of Power. So what she's doing is she's commenting on some woman on TikTok or Instagram or something. And she's commenting on the concept of partner shaming. So the Dadvocate is evaluating this other woman and basically giving her take on it. And we're going to see as you go through this, there are certain parts that I agree with. And then there's one major part that really made me go, yeah, we need to respond. Balance of Power needs to say something about this because there's some pieces missing. Now, by the way, watch till the end because I might drop a little tip in there for new dads in how to put your baby to sleep. Because it's really what this whole thing is about is a dad trying to take care of his kids, which should be something that's celebrated / happy. But for some reason, this wife felt the need to bash her husband, which is just straight crazy. But definitely watch to the end if you want to hear that tip, if you're a new dad or if you plan to have kids at all one day. But going back to the example that we're talking about, the Dadvocate seems to get a lot of things right. She understands the concept of what the mission is, of what's going on here.
Baby duty at nighttime entails making sure the baby sleeps. And if the baby needs to be woken up and fed, making sure the baby eats. There is no reasonable parent, heavy on the reasonable, who thinks that nighttime baby duty includes detailing the house.
So yeah, that's basically it. There's one thing she did fail to mention, but it's not important, but I'll name them off right now. The 3 main things you need to do when you are on baby duty. Again, this is a new father and a new mother. They don't have any kids before now. So all of this is new. So the 3 main things you need to do on nighttime baby duty in general, but especially the nighttime, is you change the diaper. If the baby needs to eat, you make sure the baby eats. But number 1, this little bundle of joy needs to stay asleep. That's the thing. Sleep. Remember that for the future. So let me just set the stage really quick. For those of you who either haven't had kids for a long time or you never had a kid before, you don't understand what it's like to be a new parent, let alone have a parent situation where you've got a newborn baby, you might have babysat kids when they're old enough to go to school, but a newborn, homie, babies, it requires a lot of different things. Now I'm going over this pretty fast just to give you a concept of what this man was dealing with in the middle of the night. So starting with the third thing that we talked about, the baby needs to be changed. You've seen enough movies, you've seen enough things to understand baby changing ain't easy. You gotta look around for wipes, you gotta make sure the baby's laid out in some kind of diaper changing station. You gotta make sure that you wipe every crevice and make sure all the stuff is not there. Depending on the sex of the baby might pee in your face while you're changing the diaper. Not an exaggeration, not just something for movies. Again, if you haven't raised kids, you might not notice. So there's that whole debacle of once you change the diaper, then you gotta figure out where to put this ball of toxic nastiness known as a soiled diaper. You gotta find the diaper genie, you gotta have a clean diaper. You get that, right? You've seen that on TV. But then there's the feeding portion. That's number 2. How do you feed the baby? Now, if someone just handed you a bottle, that'd be easy, perfectly fine, right? But many of you have no idea what it's like to deal with bottles nowadays. Bottles have pieces and compartments. If you don't know, a bottle can be taken completely apart. So if you're a dude who's never done this before, I'm going to use like tool language. So you've got the nipple. But the nipple's not just a screw on top like that, simple. No, it's like got to be put together in this little gasket, like washer type thing that screws onto the bottle. And then, depending on the type of bottle you have, it might be plastic, it might be glass. You might have this little baggie that goes with the bottle that you have the milk go in. It might be formula, it might be breast milk, you never know. But if it's the baggie, you have to put the baggie around the plastic like you're putting a plastic bag on a trash can or something. And then it goes around and then you have to screw the top on. It's a lot, okay? Let alone if you're sitting there having to be a chemist, basically, because you're doing formula. It's like, what do you call those things? Like a protein shake or something. You got a little canister with powder. You got to measure the powder. You got to put water in there. You got to mix it up. You got to have the right temperature on things. I'm bringing all of this up because I want you to see how much is entailed with just those 2 things out of the 3. Now, the third thing, which technically is the least complicated, is simultaneously the most complicated, which is putting the baby to sleep. Because you don't require all these mechanical things and wipes and different stuff you gotta look for, but you still gotta make sure this little baby stays asleep. Stays asleep. Because once you put them to sleep, they can easily wake up if you do it wrong. If you don't know what you're doing, you can't even get them to sleep at all. So it's the quickest because you don't have all these mechanics, but it also the longest because it could last the longest with them crying for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, making you want to pull your hair out. Oh, that's a lot of stuff, right? I broke all of that down for you, like I said, so you get it. So you get it, so you get it, so you get it. There are times where you're going to be opening things, looking for things. You don't know what is where. Keep that in mind for this next piece that happens, because the dadvocate, she gets it. She understands a lot of it. She's a mom who has, like, I don't even know how many kids, but she understands a lot of this stuff. But there's a part in which even her, as a woman, doesn't understand.
Open, open. Open, 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 open. Open.
All right, now I'm like, this is where people start accusing you of weaponized incompetence, because why are they literally all open? Oh, God damn it. I was on his side. I was rooting for you, buddy, but why is every single one? What were you doing all night? What were you looking for?
So yes, even this woman who, like I said, this is not a hate video at all. Watch her video, she's got a lot of great stuff. But even her, who's literally got Dadvocate as her title. She's an advocate for dads. Even she, at a certain point, no offense, she's a woman. She doesn't understand all of how our mind works. So she tapped out on, this doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. Why are the cabinets open? Now, I just explained to you. Now, if you're a man watching this, especially if you haven't dealt with kids at all, just hearing about the changing of the diapers and the bottles, you're like, dude, can I fast forward this? This is stupid. You might even clicked off the video because it's too much craziness that you ain't trying to be about. Imagine having to do that in the middle of the night where you haven't had any sleep. The advocate might not understand, but this is a message for her and other women. So gentlemen, as I say lots of times on this channel, slide this video to a woman who needs to hear this message, because sometimes they don't get what's going on in our head, and you got Rosetta Stone right here. So I'm going to explain for the Dadvocate, for all women, what's going on in this dude's head. Most likely, what's going on in his head and why all the cabinets are open. So, cabinets. Number one, I'm going to answer the question that's in the title of our video of, did the guy deserve to be shamed? No, absolutely not. Hell mother, no, he did not deserve to be shamed. That's just crazy to me. Because these three main reasons are why the cabinets were open, on top of all the craziness that we already discussed about it just being difficult / complicated when you have a kid, period, and you're a new dad, new mom. So reason number one, we don't know where you put stuff. Even if we had 0 children, often we have no idea where things are in cabinets and things like that. Now you could say like, oh, it's your house, you should know. But if someone is in control of a space, and you learn this when you learn to live with someone else, there's certain spaces that I'm in control of, certain spaces that she's in control of, and we control the space based on what's logical for the person who's most in that space. So if it's the garage and I'm in control of that space, I know where the tools are, I know where the oil's stashed, I know where the extra tires and different stuff, just I know where the stuff is. And it's made easy and logical for me to be able to find it, reach it, access it based on how frequently I use it. So when it comes to the kitchen, lots of dudes, that's not their space. Lots of dudes are going into cabinets and going, where are the blue plates? I knew I bought some blue plates. My mom gave them to us. And like, you don't know where everything is, let alone if you're new parents and you just got a bunch of baby stuff. Where are the bottles? Where are the nipples? Where's the little plastic baggies? All the stuff I explained. He has to look for it all. So he opened all the cabinets. So the Dadvocate kind of got that a little bit, where she talked about in the video, if you watch it, that he might be looking for stuff if he's new. But the second part, she didn't really understand. The second part is men are logical. We are pragmatic. So it's not just logical for him to open everything all at once. It's also very pragmatic for him to open everything all at once. Instead of him opening and closing and opening and closing and opening and closing all these cabinets left and right, he's like, you know what? Holding the baby, he's like, I don't know where anything is. Hold up, let me just open everything so I can look. So he can be there with his son or his daughter looking at all the stuff. He can easily, without having to reach around and do all the stuff he normally would have to do if his hands were free, he can do it with one hand. Because again, you're holding a baby with one hand. Keep that in mind. If the baby's crying, if the baby is hungry, like you don't know what's happening. It's in the middle of the night, it's 3 a.m. He's trying to rock a baby to sleep, it's crying in his ear, and he's like looking for stuff. No. The lights are going to be low. He's going to try to keep the baby, relatively calm. So yes, he's going to open everything, because why would he close it back? That makes 0 sense. From a logical standpoint, he doesn't know where anything is. It's easy for him to see. It's easy for him to find. So it's the fastest, easiest thing for him to do is to have everything open. He can see everything all at once. And when he needs something, he can grab it and not have to worry about closing it back, which brings us to number 3. Now remember when I said to you all, remember, the number one thing you're doing for this little bundle of joy who you love, is you want them to stay asleep. Asleep. Now, what happened even in the video when the woman's closing the cabinets? Bang, 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 bang. The cabinets make noise when you close them. What's the thing that's gonna make a baby awake? Anybody awake? Maybe closing cabinets. Even if he's trying to close it silently, having to do that, if he has to look for a bottle again, if he's got to look for this again, because it's not just going to happen once. This is all night long, homie. Nah, you a new parent. You're going to be looking for bottles, looking for things left and right. They're going to be changing diapers left and right for however many hours. Let's just say 8 hours. Let's say your wife is sleeping 8 hours straight. That's your shift. That's a work shift, homie. That's you working. So you're going to be what? Opening and closing? Opening and closing? Every time you close that cabinet, it's a risk that the baby is awake. That you just crushed all your hard work of getting that baby asleep. And then because you... oh, man. Oh, you feel so defeated. When you finally got a baby to sleep and the slightest little thing wakes them up, oh my gosh, you want to shoot the person who woke the baby up. And if that person is you, can't do that because somebody needs to be alive to take care of this baby. But that's the whole point. Again, we are logical and pragmatic. Why would I close the cabinet when it's going to risk the actual mission? The feeding of the baby is cool. The changing of the baby is cool. But the real mission in the middle of the night is this little lovely thing that I made with my wife to stay asleep. We gotta keep it asleep. Oh my goodness. So, don't forget that. There's no reason for him to close anything. For what? Why? It doesn't take long to close it, but it's complicated. He's gonna sit there with the baby and have to close cabinets over. Because if he wakes the baby up, again, starts all over again. And then if the baby wakes up on its own, you're going to need to open the cabinets again. We've already talked about this. So for me, as a man, it makes complete sense. I was like, yeah. At first, when they talked about the drawers, I was like, okay, I could see how he could use his hip to close it. But when they showed the cabinets, and I was like, yeah, that's right. He's a new dad. He's never done this before. He doesn't know how to keep a baby asleep. But that's the crux of what we're talking about, right? Why would she do that? He's a new dad. Why would she record this and tell the whole world? She's a new mom also. He's a new dad. She's a new mom. They're both new to the game, right? Why would she make a whole video? And she wasn't really harsh about it, but it was enough of why are you showcasing your teammates' quote unquote failures? Why is she making it seem like everything was crazy? She acts like this dude had some wild, crazy stuff happen in the house while she was asleep. She goes, look what I woke up to. As if this dude had beer bottles and drug paraphernalia strewn about the apartment. It's just so bad, so horrible. Oh my gosh, look what I had to do. It was to gain the attention of other moms, of other people to say, and you can see it in there. Most of the comments that they talked about were women going, yeah, how hard is it really? Oh my gosh, you can't do blah, 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 blah. Nobody's understanding his side of the things. Not really. There was one comment that they showed where a woman goes, yeah, you were the one who's really disrespectful. Because they were saying some wild stuff. Some heinous things about this new dad trying to figure things out. And because he left cabinets open, my dude. Cabinets? Really? Cabinets. The entirety of her fixing the problem is about 45 seconds worth of work of her closing cabinets and pushing in drawers. And oh yeah, let's take this towel and put it in there. Really? That's the only thing you had to quote unquote pay for. That was the cost. You getting a full night's worth of sleep, uninterrupted, cost you 45 seconds of work in the morning and let's not forget, she did at least give this dude credit by saying, look, he made me breakfast. Seriously, homie? There are women, men, spouses across the world who don't get breakfast made for them when they got 0 kids. This dude did a whole night shift of baby duty as a new dad, figuring it out, and he made you breakfast? And you gonna blast this dude out like he's just so horrible? Come on. The fact is, that is your teammate. That is your counterpart. That is your other half. Why? Why? And ladies, I know you might not like this, but here we spit the truth. Why is it mostly you who gets a kick out of downgrading and downplaying your person, your counterpart, your other half on the internet over and over again? I don't know of a video, and y'all can show me, send me clips, let a brother say something. Let me know if you see a video where a dude is recording his wife doing something where she's not doing it perfectly, and he's just making fun of her and wanting to, like, look at this, guys, she don't know how to do this correctly. I have not seen it. I've not seen it. The most I've seen is dudes recording their woman doing something kind of heinous to them, like she's breaking his stuff, she's cheating on him, stuff like that. Or if it's some weird prank thing that used to be popular like 10 years ago or whatever, which I've never liked. But the point is, ladies, it's like a pastime for y'all. It's kind of always been a pastime for you, but to put it on the internet like that, as if this dude deserves vitriol from the world. Why would you want that? Why would you want random women, random guys, random strangers bad-mouthing your man when he made you breakfast in the morning after a full night of him taking care of your baby that y'all made together so you can get some sleep? Really? Because he wasn't perfect? It's crazy. So really quick, gentlemen, a tip for new dads, if you are trying to put a baby to sleep and you've never done it before, here's some things to think about. When babies are new, and for a long time after, but especially when they're new, they are really subject to the physicality of being in the womb. So things that make them feel like they're back in the womb will generally put them to sleep. So the swaddling thing you've heard about, where you wrap the baby up and the baby's all kind of hugged and tussled, like not tussled, but nestled in this whole little cocoon type thing, that's one thing. But something you might not have heard about, vibration. If you have your baby and basically like the little head and the arms like hanging over this part of your shoulder, so you've got the baby there and you can hum, I would recommend something that you can easily just do over and over again, because it's got to be a consistent low rumble, a hum. You are a man, hopefully your voice is deeper than your woman's, and just naturally you'll be able to have a lower register, and therefore you'll have that low rumble that they can feel. This simulates just feeling the vibrations that they would feel if they were within the womb. So sometimes it'll just be and do that. See how I'm bouncing? Do something consistent as far as the movement. A lot of physicality will happen that will affect the baby. So physical movement, you humming at the same time, that vibration, that will help the baby to sleep. And you can talk like this, as long as you talk in a rhythm that goes with the bounce. I know you probably didn't think you were going to get this in a Bounce Power video, I know. But like I said, around here we give solutions, even to new dads. Or woman, if you're watching this and you want to try it out, try it out. It's going to work. Anyway, the point is the bouncing, the humming, the vibration. It's got to be consistent. And if you're doing that, you can close cabinets with your hands. You can close drawers with your hip. as long as you keep the humming and you can even talk on the phone, you can do a lot of things that you don't know that you can do. You're a new dad. You've never done this before. So you have no idea that you're able to move around. You're afraid to do anything. You're afraid to breathe wrong because you don't want this little bad boy waking up. You're like, no, stay asleep. But if you do the humming and the bouncing, that puts a lot of babies to sleep. You know what I'm saying? I can keep going with that, but that's good enough for you right now. Because this main thing, though, not just the baby in the relationship, but the relationship starts to crumble. Lots of relationships crumble around major events like having a child or the death of a child. It can mess you all the way up if you don't talk to each other, if you don't have leeway and sympathy and grace for each other and what's going on. Now, ladies watching this, and hopefully someone will give this to this woman who made the video about her husband. Try not to do that. He's obviously trying to do a great job to the point where he made you breakfast in the morning. Give that man a break. Because the fact is, it didn't cost you much of anything. It was 45 seconds of closing drawers for you to get 4 to 5 hours of uninterrupted sleep. And that's something to be celebrated. Now that's today's lesson. Now if you found value in this lesson, and I know you did, do what you're supposed to do, throw thumbs, and beat up that subscribe button. But if you're really good and you really want to help out the channel, slide this video to somebody that needs to hear this message. I know you love these videos. Where else you gonna hear gold bars of knowledge dropped on you on the regular? Nowhere. You gonna get it right here. And every time you think about leaving us, your brain is probably gonna say this.
Where you going? Nowhere.
So come on back, click on another video, get some more learning in. But until next time, no. Deuce, deuce.